Tally on Bandit, 12 o'clock. Pushing Firewall on Bandit. Fox 2, Fireball away. Bandit down. Welcome back, guys and gals, to the IroncladLion channel. We've got a review of a brand new game, Century Age of Ashes. This game just came out on December 2nd, 2021, and it is something special. Century is a multiplayer, arena-based dragon dogfighting game. Now, if you know how much I like playing unique games, you'll know I couldn't resist trying this one, especially with a price tag of free. So let's get to this review. I describe this as a dragon dogfighting game because your dragon is a fighter jet. Your left click launches heat-seeking fireball missiles, and your right click is your close combat guns, or fire breath in this case. Using these two weapons is the primary way to take your opponents out of the sky. You also have a stamina-based boost mechanic when you need to give your dragon some juice. As you can probably see from the gameplay, this game is fast. Not Speed Racer fast, but pod racing, you blink, you die sort of fast. On top of your fire-based abilities, you have a class power on your E and a choice between two abilities for your Q. With 4 combat abilities plus a boost, the combat mechanics strike a nice balance between depth and simplicity. Your abilities are only a piece of the puzzle, however, as your movement around the battlefield is crucial to your survival. Flying through tight spaces and dodging your enemy's fireballs is absolutely required if you don't want to be cooked alive, and weaving power-ups into your flight plan while cruising around the landscape will keep you one step ahead of the enemy. While the basics are easy enough to understand, there's a lot to learn and plenty of details to master. Upon release, there are currently 3 classes in Century. There's the Marauder,
He's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn,
who specializes in tracking and hunting down a specific target, the Wind Guard, who is excellent at supporting and shielding allies, and the Phantom, who is the edgelord of the bunch, turning invisible and ambushing enemies. Each of these classes is well designed and well balanced. The playstyles vary significantly, and I've enjoyed playing each of them, although my favorite is certainly the Wind Guard. These are 3 great classes. I have absolutely no complaints about any of them, except there's only 3. Why is there only 3? If the main game modes have 6 players on a team, it just looks fucking weird to have so many repeating characters. I know there's a 4th class coming soon, but I'm really just surprised they'd launched the game with fewer classes than beverages I drink in a day. Century currently has 3 separate queues for multiplayer. There's Quick Play, Ranked, and Skirmish. Quick Play is the primary queue and contains 3 game modes which you can toggle on or off. Spoils of War is the most common and most developed game mode, which will have you grabbing as much gold as you can and depositing it into the coffers at your team's tower. There are several random events that can pop up, including the coffers being locked until your team retrieves a key, a gem worth several hundred gold to the team that holds it at the end of the round, and a bomb that can detonate your enemy's coffers to spill out a hefty portion of their stored gold, as well as a few others. It's a really well designed mode, and there's always something to be doing. Carnage is your dragon team deathmatch, but with an added bounty system. The more dragons you take down in a row, the higher your bounty will be. A player with a higher bounty will be worth more points if you can kill them. This is a great balancing mechanic, so the most dangerous player on either team will be hunted down. And finally, Gates of Fire is an interesting hybrid mode. The best way I can describe it is a combination of capture the flag and erase. There is one flag on the map that each team is trying to grab. When your team has the flag, you want the flag carrier to make it through as many gates as they can in a row, scoring points for your team. If their dragon is shot down, the flag is dropped and the cycle repeats. It's a very intense mode since every dragon on the map will be huddled around the single flag. For those craving competition, there is a ranked queue, although only the Spoils of War game mode is available in ranked. It can be fun, but is ultimately lacking several crucial features due to matchmaking, which we'll talk about later. There is also a skirmish mode, and this is a simple 3v3 deathmatch with no bounties involved, really just for practice if you are still learning the game. And speaking of practice, there is a nice tutorial and a free flight mode to get you started. I like all the game modes and feel they are very satisfying to play. I wish the rules were explained a little bit more, but you can get the hang of them after a few rounds. I appreciate the creativity that went into them, and the game modes themselves don't feel repetitive. There may be more added in time, but this is a solid lineup for launch. There's a good amount of customization in Century, but it is all itemized. What I mean by that is you can't pick and choose the color of your dragon, for example. Each breed of dragon just is the color that it is. So while you can acquire new pieces of armor for your favorite class and dragon, you cannot further customize those pieces. I think this is still a good system and there are plenty of cool things to unlock, but there isn't any deep customization, and you are selecting your look from pre-designed items. This sort of customization can maintain the look and feel of the game, so immersion isn't broken. You won't find anyone with racing stripes on their dragon, for example, but it does mean that everyone looks very similar. You can't design your own character, so it is locked to each individual class. These problems won't be as apparent when more cosmetic items get added to the game, and we should talk about how you acquire these items. Century Age of Ashes is a free-to-play game, so naturally, we have to take a look at the monetization model. I can safely say, good news everyone! There isn't anything shady here. It's exactly how free-to-play games should be monetized. You've got coin, which is your basic in-game currency, and gems, which is your premium currency. There is nothing you can buy from the store that changes the gameplay or gives you an advantage. Everything is cosmetic. There are some awesome looking dragons that can only be bought for gems, but that's how it should be. Almost everything else can be bought for either coin or gem, and sometimes they give away free items. You can also earn gems in-game by completing the weekly challenges, so dedicated players can save up for something nice. It's honestly great, and the prices are very reasonable. This legendary dragon is the equivalent of $15. It's not $40 or something silly. For a great game that you can play for free, $15 for a sick-ass dragon that you can ride forever is awesome. So if you do want to invest in the game and support the developers, there's a lot of cool things you can buy. If you are a free player, there's nothing you need to worry about. This monetization is top tier and is a standard that should be maintained for all free-to-play games. While I do have a lot of praise for Age of Ashes, it isn't without its faults. The biggest and most obvious being its matchmaking. You can find a game very quickly in Century, but unfortunately, it's sometimes too quick. The game doesn't seem to care what level you are or how many players are in your party. You can be a single player matched up with randoms and then get put up against a full team of 6 sweaties who haven't touched grass in weeks. Or maybe the matchmaker decides that you didn't need a 6th player and starts the game with only 5. If you think that's bad, this unfortunately applies to ranked as well. I loaded into my 3rd ranked match ever, 5v6, a team of randoms and myself, up against the 6 highest ranked players in the entire game. Our highest level player was 17, their lowest was 42. The matchmaker took about 10 seconds to slap that game together before sending us off to our doom. But it gets better. Century Age of Ashes does not have any kind of region lock. When I was playing, I'd get matched with players from the United States, Canada, Europe, Australia, Brazil, Russia, China, and others, all in the same game. Because of how fast-paced the game is designed, when I see a Chinese player freeze on my screen for 3 seconds, then appear on the other side of the map, it's frustrating to say the least. I'm not claiming hacks or anything. Fast games like this one just don't support high-ping players. If I'm trying to chase down a player who lives on the other side of the world from me, it's not going to be fun for either of us. Rarely do I criticize a multiplayer game for getting me into a match too quickly, but in this case, I'd rather wait an extra 30 seconds to get into a proper game that everyone involved can enjoy. The issues with matchmaking are further compounded by the lack of a communication system within the game. The game does include pings, but everyone is understandably too busy zooming around on their dragons to bother with it. Century has no text chat and no voice chat, meaning there is absolutely no way to talk to another player within the game. So if we go back to the issue where a team of solo players gets matched up against an organized squad, the solo players have no ability to communicate with each other. I do not approve of the just use Discord mentality that some recent game developers are using. The lack of text or voice chat is simple neglect, and reliance on third-party software is not excusable. If you are worried about toxicity, then you can disable all chat. If you are worried about mic spam, then add a mute button. It's not like these are new ideas. I want to talk to my wingman. You can't even type GG at the end of a game. Figure it out. With that being said, Century Age of Ashes is a good game. Gameplay is tight, mechanics work well, and the game modes are unique and refreshing. I like it. Century Age of Ashes in its current launch state gets a 7 out of 10 from me. The reasons it's not a 10 out of 10 game is because there's only 3 classes, and matchmaking issues I mentioned before before, and no communication system implemented. These, however, are easy fixes. Add a few more classes, solo queue and region locking, and for the love of dragons, text and voice chat. Then, this will be a perfect multiplayer dragon game. I mean, come on. Look at how cute this little dragon is. How could you not love that? There's a lot of love being put into this project, and I eagerly look forward to future updates. I'll be keeping an eye on development and might revisit this game in a future video. Hell, I'll probably be playing a few games here and there. It's a good time, and I recommend trying it out. This is Century Age of Ashes. If you've been enjoying my videos, consider liking the video to support the channel and subscribing if you'd like to see more. If you have any questions or comments, throw those down below as well. I've got more awesome content coming soon, including some Total War Warhammer 2, which I've really been enjoying. Thanks so much for watching. I'm IroncladLion, and I'll see you in the next video.